Last-minute shake-up at 5:30 a.m., laundry situation not good. And when your focus is on helping your clients, it's easy to forget about yourself. But NASM knows trainers.
Morning, Ryan. It's okay.
And staying in front of the day isn't always
Nice,
as simple
Ryan.
as 1,
What's
2,
up?
3. So when the unexpected has you pressing pause,
What's the latest on creatine?
I'm going to get back to you on that.
let NASM1 help you press play. Visit NASM.org to sign up for a membership today.
You're listening to the NASM-CPT Podcast with Richey, winner of the Share Care Emmy Award for Social Storytelling and the official podcast of the National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Hey y'all, and welcome to the NASM-CPT Podcast. My name is Richey, and today I'm diving into the mailbox because I got an interesting message from Jessica M. And she reached out and, well, let me just go ahead and read the message. But it has something to do with the guilt that we sometimes feel as fitness professionals, being in a position where we think maybe we shouldn't be in, particularly around health issues, injuries, things like that. So Jessica says, hello, love your podcast. It always makes me laugh, and we certainly need more of that in the world. Hear, and cheers on that, Jessica. I'm currently in the CPT self-study program, and so far it's been great. I've been pretty motivated to study almost every day. However, this year has brought me some health-related challenges. My question to you is, can you talk about how to deal with a comeback from illness, injury, etc., as a CPT? For example, coming back to train or be trained, but that might be a whole different topic after having COVID, the flu, or an injury as a trainer. I've recently had one, and it's my recovery time seems eternal. I feel that since we're supposed to be health advocates, getting ill or injured is like being a hypocrite, like as if I'm not taking care of myself, if that makes sense. I know it's not, but I fight myself on this. I greatly appreciate your time, and thank you for all you do, Jessica M. Jessica, I get it. I know where you're coming from. I'm picking up what you're putting down because I get hurt all the time. Just in 2024, I was doing bench press and tore a rotator cuff. And here's the thing, Jessica, I don't do bench press because the last time I had done bench press, I had torn my rotator cuff. And that was about 8 years ago. But 8 years had come and gone. And I was like, man, my shoulders felt really good for the past 8 years. I want to try bench press again. Oh, so I go ahead and I load up the bar. Well, I do bar, plain bar. Plain. No cream cheese, just plain. So I just lifting the bar for 10 reps. Great. And I know I got to be careful because the history of shoulder issues. So I add 10 pounds. But and I go through a shoulder warm up and I have a whole series of shoulder things. So I do 10 pounds on each side. I said, okay, let me do the 25-pound plates on each side. And 25-pound plates on each side for another 10. I was like, okay, and being careful. Let me just add 10 more on there. So I've got 35 on each side. And I start doing it, and all of a sudden I hit a few reps in, and my shoulder, I can barely lift it here. And now I'm arching my back, trying to really muster this weight. I got to get this off of my chest. Get up there, put it out, put it down. And I'm going, that's crazy, because I feel pretty confident that I can do 70, 75-pound dumbbells in each hand for reps, but why can't I do? I just didn't know what was happening. I put it down, and my shoulder felt fine at the time. But I know what I would have done in the past is just said, hey, 25s on each side felt fine. Let me just drop back down to the 25s. And it's not that it was a weakness issue. It was just my shoulder. It just gave out. It stopped participating in the project. And so I put the weight back, and this is the only progress I made in 8 years. I did wait till I was feeling better, And then rather than do what I would have done, which is just lighten the weight and keep lifting, I just stopped. I stopped completely, felt fine. Then I went to bed and I couldn't sleep. And I couldn't sleep well for a few nights because the sharp stabbing pain in my shoulder. So no, I feel bad. I got a shoulder issue from jujitsu. I cracked a rib. I'm absolutely incapable of being the person that I want to be for my clients. And this is now going to go to a conversation that you and I need to have directly, and a lot of people need to be here to hear it. I say it a lot throughout my podcast, and there are two main quotes that you'll hear me say. The first one, most important one: when you come back from that injury, when you come back from the sickness, when you come back, and that could be taking time off and then coming back, or it could be like a knucklehead like me, which is I just can't lift anything and hand it to you. But here I am the next day after injury. Here, first quote, most important: do what you can, not what you can't. And there are a lot of people out there trying to do what they can't do. They're trying to mask the pain. They're trying to mask the hurt. They're trying to let everybody think that there's nothing wrong with them. Trainers, healthy people get high cholesterol. Healthy people, I guess I can speak to this one, get diabetes. Healthy, fit people get different pathologies. Healthy, fit people get hurt and they get injured. And what you're doing is you're putting a lot of responsibility on you to be perfect. And I think that that's something that we should not present to our clients, even if we are perfect. I think the thing that makes us more relatable to our clients isn't that you are the unstoppable, undefeatable trainer at the gym, but you are a person that shows up just like your clients are trying to do and works through issues and still makes it happen. But when you come back, you can't come back at full steam. You can't come back and say, and feel the guilt that is associated with what in Alabama, when I grew up, we call this a used to could injury, right? You want to come back and you want to already do what you used to could. You can't do that anymore. So we got to take the used to could out. And instead of saying, this is what I used to could do, you say, this is where I am now. This is what I can do now. And you're not trying to live up to what you can't do. You're not trying to live up to what you used to could do. You are trying to get better from the point that you exist in this moment. And the most important thing too is that once you get there and you start battling this idea that I am supposed to be this. Now, you are supposed to be who you are, and you use the version of who you are with your clients to motivate them, to share stories with them, to inspire them. And you are an inspiration. Even if they can lift more than you, they can run faster than you, it doesn't matter. What you bring to the table for them is the inspiration. And inspiration isn't undefeatable. In fact, early on, there's a comic book hero by the name of Superman. And Superman was the biggest comic book hero in the world for decades. And this was right around World War II, where Superman was such a big deal because we needed somebody that could not be defeated. We needed something that brought so much hope. But after a while, Superman didn't have as much oomph as they wanted it to be, because it's hard to write a story when the main character is perfect. And as the main character progressed in these comics, not only could he fly, he had superhuman strength, he had this, and then he could suddenly blow air and it could freeze things, and he could look at something and then burn things with lasers out of his eye. It's just like he just got more and more powerful to the point that it's like I can't even come up with somebody to beat them. And then we started becoming more in love with flawed characters. Characters like Batman, truly flawed in who he is as a person. You're trying to be Superman. And you got to understand that people are drawn more to the character that is flawed and still endures. And I want to place that in your ear and want you to hear it. And know that when you're talking to your clients, it is okay. We don't hang on the struggle. We don't, as a trainer, for me as an individual anyway, I don't hang on my struggles, the things that I find difficult, the things that I find hard. But I will regularly go, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick this up and hand it to you. Or I don't even know if I'm going to be able to help spot this because you're strong. And if I'm going to have to help get this off of you, then I'm not going to be able to do it with this shoulder. So we might have to come up with another plan, a different type of workout in order for you to be able to do it, because I am not who I need to be for you. And that may be the thing, that you don't feel like you're who you need to be for your person right now. But my clients, in my constant state of jiu-jitsu injury and apparently gym injury also, and when you get sick, or just when you muck up and you oversleep and you miss a session or miss schedule, it's so out of character for that to happen that your clients forgive you because that's not who you are, but you don't forgive yourself because that's not who you want to be. And I've learned, you mess up, apologize, they give you the clearance. You don't have to keep bringing it back up. You don't have to. I might do it another time just as the session's over. Hey, one more time. So sorry, I forgot last week when I kind of missed the session or whatever. And they go, great, it's okay. Thank you for saying something. It's okay. Stop. Cut it out. Don't bring it up again. The flaw happened. Now, an ongoing flaw, a sickness, an injury, the things that you're working through. And you can say, I'm so sorry. I don't have the wind that I used to have. It's hard for me to keep up with you. And I feel guilty staying over here, kind of pointing to go do things and pick things up and go run that way when I'm usually right there with you. Like that's not your job. Even as a trainer, you're not even necessarily, you're not there. I'm not over next to my client doing cleans with them when I'm training them, because I'm training them so they can do it, whether or not I can do it. But also know that as you're working through this, my second quote that always comes up, as we start to get concerned, and this is where this all or nothing comes into play that we have to be careful with, is that I can't do everything I used to could do, so I'm less likely to do anything I currently can do. So that's the do what you can, not what you can't. But also know, second one, a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. So just got to do a little bit. And if you can, and it falls in the realm of what you can do a little bit. Don't do everything. Don't do all of it, because now you're starting to do things you can't do. And if you do, it's not sustainable. We want it to be sustainable, because there are great lessons for us as trainers, because so many people come to us with lost hope. That's a lot of times why they even show up. They start to lose hope. And so many of us, because they hope that they come to us because they hope that you are going to solve their perceived problems and their perceived flaws, and that you're going to do it quickly, and you're going to do it ultimately. Like everything is done. And so this zero-sum game approach to health and fitness and wellness is not a sustainable goal, because the requirement to win at everything can lead to quitting when all isn't done. And if anything is left undone, and we think we have to do it all, then it puts us in a position to bow out and walk away and do nothing, rather than do what you can, even if it's not what you used to could. Do what you can now. Don't hold guilt with that. Don't let that hold you back. Don't let that keep you. And ego's a big part of it, but also a sense of responsibility. Like, you are responsible for this. This is why they come to me. And I think sometimes you need to reevaluate why it is they come to you. They're not coming to you for perfection, Superman. They're not. My favorite characters in superhero-dom are largely flawed individuals. And that's part of what makes Wolverine so interesting. That's part of what makes some of our characters that we gravitate toward very, very interesting. This episode of the NASM-CPT Podcast is brought to you by NASM One, the membership for trainers and coaches. Members enjoy unlimited access to hundreds of career resources. Get the Edge app to schedule and program clients, enjoy half off all certifications and specializations, access to free CEUs, and more. All of this for just $35 a month. Go to nasm.org/membership to learn more about NASM One. Here's what I'm going to encourage you to do, Jessica, and all of you, all of us, is that we need to have empathy with ourselves the same way that we would have empathy with a client. And that's hard, because there are a lot of things where I will work with a client, I will coddle them, and there's some tough love from time to time, but for the most part, I'm like, no, that bothers you, let's not do it. And they go, no, let me work through it. And I'll go, no, don't work through it, because I know that working through pain can oftentimes lead to more, longer, chronic pain. I don't like that idea. Back off. I'm going to tell you to back off. And yet, here you are, not doing that for yourself. But you wouldn't do that with your training client. And that's why I think it's important that if we're not going to do this with we're not going to treat ourselves the way that we treat our clients, because we'll treat our clients sometimes with greater respect. We'll treat our clients sometimes with greater empathy. We'll treat our clients with a better sense of understanding. With a client, you would let them know that it takes time. Also, with a client, you'll let them know that progress isn't linear. Sometimes progress, especially early on, it's not linear. It takes a long time initially to start getting over something. And then all of a sudden one day you're like, did I go through the entire day without my shoulder hurting? That was crazy. All I used to think about day in and day out is being careful of doing something that's going to hurt my shoulder. And then one day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week goes by and you're like, I hadn't thought about my shoulder a single time. Because progress isn't linear. And then also understand that you're trying to get to a goal, and the goal is maybe perfection, perceived perfection. This is not an attack of this, but it's holding ourselves to this kind of standard, right? But I'm going to say this. The journey itself is worth the trip. And there's a lot of times we're trying to get to a goal. And so we seek out on this quest to get something, to get to a goal. And in fitness-related goals, we get it all the time. There are people who want a goal, they join the gym, and here they are working towards that goal. Let me say this. If we are so focused on the goal that we don't face the realities of the journey and the trip to get there, it is very hard to stay focused on the goal. It's very easy to change and modulate and shift our goals to match where we are. And there's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately here, I would say, if you are loving the journey, you'll get to the goal. Whatever that journey is, and we're talking about the gym and fitness journey, right? So If you keep saying, I want to do this or accomplish this, maybe you'll get there because you are so focused on that goal. But if you hate every step of the process and the journey, not really. You're not going to get there, because the journey, loving the path, loving the process will end up getting you to where you need to be. Now, we take that gym talk and we turn that into our outcomes for you and our client. Like, I'm enjoying the process of trying to figure out how to get back to where I once was. It sucks. I want to be there. But my process is also a learning process as I'm going through maybe physical therapy from an injury. And now I'm learning some therapeutic approaches. I'm learning some things that are going to help me and my clients before we do an exercise, or it's like a prehabilitative exercise before they go and lift weights. I'm doing things with somebody's got a hitch in their giddy up, and I learned that from things to do from my PT. That's really helpful. And this is not prescriptive for them saying, oh, you got a torn rotator cuff, do this because this happened to me. And I'm just using mine as an example. That's not it, because somebody has a torn rotator cuff. It's not just the exercises that gets you there, and you don't know what's torn, and you don't have, you could go to a therapist. But you are loving the journey and the process of, I'm winded. I used to be able to do this, but my clients come to me as a trainer because they get winded so easy. What's a new level, a complete different layer of empathy that you get to have for them? And you tell your clients about it, let them know. And they're like, it sucks, doesn't it? And you're like, yeah, let's work through this together. Because when you take the best path kind of in progress, it doesn't always take you where you want to go, but it does take you someplace better. And so the journey is to be enjoyed. The process is to be enjoyed. The outcomes are going to be what the outcomes are. But you're making the right steps to get to the place where you want to be. Fall in love with the process, and the outcomes will be assured. All right, Jessica. Thank you. Y'all, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share with your fitness friends and family, and don't let guilt weigh you down. We are people too. These superhero trainers that we want to be. We are flawed. And I know about 1,000 personal trainers that disagree with that statement, but boy, the egos on some of you people. We are flawed individuals, and we could really, really use some self-empathy as well. You want to reach out to me, you can do so. Hit me up on Instagram at dr.rickrichey, or email me rick.richey@nasm.org. Y'all keep inspiring people to fitness. Thanks for listening. This has been the NASM-CPT Podcast.